Do you remember the World War II shooter that was being developed called Resolve? It was being developed by members, I believe, members of the Hell Let Loose competitive scene, and it was being developed to be more of a competitive equivalent to Hell Let Loose, and of course, a competitor to Hell Let Loose. If that makes sense. I got my hands on it a while ago, and I made a video on it. It was very, very early days, and there was promise in the game, but then news just sort of stopped and we didn't hear anything about it. Well, the devs said last week that the game was dead, but that it was being reimagined as something else. And now we have more information on what that something else is. One of the main things is it's going to be an entirely new game mode. What the name of this game mode is, I don't know. I don't believe they've actually said yet. But this is how the mode is going to play. So you join a server. I think it's 100 player servers, but you'll be a solo. And then you can create a squad by interacting with other players and create a squad. And the main sort of focus is securing water. And water will be found at certain locations of the map. I believe it just won't be like a pool of water on the ground. It will be an actual sort of structure which you have to go to and secure. Once you've secured a source of water, you can then turn your squad into a team, and then you can get more and more people to join that team. The goal is to fill your water storage, pretty much. The first team to fill up that storage of water wins the game. So you must be asking, like, why water, right? Why have they chosen water? And there's a couple of reasons to that. One is that it's no longer a World War II based shooter. It's not post-apocalyptic. They don't use that word at all, but they are saying that violence has left the planet scarred and broken. The old empires have crumbled, leaving their armies fragmented with no allegiance. Now, years later, a new fight emerges, not for continents but for survival. New regional powers are rising, and small armed groups form to clash over scarce resources, unsure who is friend or foe. So really, it sort of sounds like World War II definitely happened, but it just left everyone fucked up. Now there's just random soldiers around just trying to survive. So water was chosen as a resource to fight over because we all know what water is, right? We all know how important water is. If we don't drink water, we're going to die. And in that sort of scenario where the game is set, I mean, if everyone's screwed, all the resources are quite scarce, then you are going to be fighting over food and water. So secure water, fill up your water storage, and you win the game. So they've got rid of the traditional Conquest style game mode, which is go to point A, stand and wait for a meter to fill to capture it, move on to the next one. They got rid of that. It's about securing these areas instead. And also, if you remember, I did say that you start solo. You have to create a squad. Once you've created a squad, or you can just do it solo, once you've secured some water, you then can create an actual team for other people to join. That means there can be multiple teams fighting at once. Not just Team A versus Team B. It could be Team A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, all fighting for resources. Now, these teams can get destroyed, which will mean you could have a team of 10 people. That team gets destroyed, and I'm not sure how the team gets destroyed. I think it's their water source gets captured, and then that team gets dissolved. But then those people can then join another team to create an even stronger team. Or I think you can just stay as like a solo guy and be a general annoyance, but really if you want to win the game when your team gets destroyed, you will have to join another team to fight back and try and actually win. So what I think you'll see in a game is a bunch of small teams spread out around the map, fighting for control, and then other teams gradually absorbing other teams to get bigger, get more water sources to fill their water storage quicker, and then you'll probably see other teams form together to try and fight the other bigger teams, and then you could end up with 2 or 3 large teams fighting off at the end. And I think it could be quite an interesting mode. I think it's quite a unique mode in like a first-person shooter. I mean, the closest thing you can think of would be a survival game where people end up teaming up and trying to fight for stuff, but I don't think there's anything quite like this. And some of the reasons why the devs have gone down this route instead of sticking to a traditional Conquest style mode, and I've said in quite a few videos in the past, not generally relating to Resolve, just in general, that Conquest is so overdone. It's in like every first person shooter that comes out. You know, it'd be called Conquest or Domination. It's the same thing. Go stand at point A or point B, C, wait for a bit for the bar to fill up, and you've captured that point. So it's good to see a development team actually trying something different. And the devs are saying that this mode, it should be more unpredictable compared to Conquest, and each game could have a greater sense of like a story within your group or grouping up with other random people. There will be a greater sense of progression throughout the match, which I agree with. When it comes to Conquest, we'll say Hell Let Loose, we'll look at Warfare. You push forward, you capture the middle point, capture the next point, maybe get pushed back. It's just that constant fight between those few points. But in this game, it's going to be probably a bit more dynamic, or it should be a bit more dynamic. And while it is just a new game mode, the objectives of that mode is simple. Capture the water, secure it. So it should be really easy to get into. I do have some concerns though with this mode, and that's generally relating to groups of pre-mades or large amount of clan members joining a server, creating a large team straight away and steamrolling over everyone. I could see that possibly being a problem, and there's no real fix to that, I think, unless the server admins try to come in and take control of the server a little bit. But also, on the other side of that, if you see a clan join and make a big team, that could force everyone else just to band together, and you'll have this random game of like a bunch of randoms joined together trying to fight up against a clan. So, you know, I think it depends on how willing other players are to join up with random people. And when you actually create your team, there are two factions within the game, the Crown and Order. And which faction you choose determines on what loadouts you actually have available for your team. But when it comes to fighting other factions, I'm not sure if you can actually fight against members or teams that are in the same faction as you. It doesn't really say in the dev brief they've put out. I might be blind, but I hope they make it so you can fight against teams that have the same faction, because if you didn't and there were two teams left with the same faction you couldn't fight, it'd be a bit stupid. So yeah, I'm going to assume that you can fight against teams with the same faction. Maybe the factions are literally just more of a, I'm not sure if there is going to be cosmetic changes based on what faction you choose, but 100% it is based on what loadouts will be available when you choose that faction. So I will be keeping an eye on Resolve. It does sound quite interesting now. I know a lot of people will be put off based on this almost being like a survival mode, but the devs have said there are no survival mechanics in the game. The capturing of water is really just a gameplay mechanic to capture a location and secure that location, because you need to secure it to fill your water supply. You can almost look at it as capturing an objectives gives your team points. The first team to get max points wins. If you look at it like that, that's pretty much what they're doing with just water, right? So overlook any allusions to like a survival game. It's not going to be a survival game at all. So yeah, I'm going to be keeping my eye on it. As soon as there's more information about the game, I'll let you guys know. As soon as I can get my hands on it and can let you guys see the gameplay that's on offer, I'll show you that and give you my opinions on it. If you like the video, give it a like, dislike if you didn't, subscribe for more, and thank you for watching.